of video you wanted this week. And I was planning on just putting out a kind of educational, informative video, kind of like I've been doing, but I've just been in a really weird mood this week, and I've been in a really weird mood with my book. So I thought today we could just keep it a little casual, go through some updates and just kind of what's been going on in my book lately. Some of you have asked about the chunkiness of my book. I don't know why. I leave it open all the time, so it automatically just wants to like open up, like the cover opens up. But this is where she's kind of sitting at if I was to close it. Normally, big chunky planners bother me, but since this book has grown with me, I don't really notice it as much. Also just have this like general motto with myself that I never want to hold myself back from filling this book up. When I record my life, I want it to feel substantial and I want it to feel kind of like real and raw. And if that makes a chunky book, then it makes a chunky book. And I think I would be not disappointed, but I think I would be a little bummed out if I filled out my entire planner and it looked like I had never touched it. That's kind of where we're at chunkiness wise. So I have a son and daughter, but my daughter just turned 3 and I do my best to keep my book out of her paws. She has her own books and her own coloring and stuff like that, and you know, like this is my book. She got a hold of it recently and did her own coloring. So I will take you guys through some of these pages that she has contributed towards. I think there's only a couple. Yeah, so this is one. Maybe if you asked me 6 months ago, this probably would have made me spiral a little bit. As a mom, it is very hard to just like have your own things, and if you're a mom, you'll understand where I'm coming from. When you're a parent, you essentially share everything with your kids, and rightfully so. Having my own autonomy and my own like things to just enjoy by myself has been very huge for my mental health. When that boundary is crossed and, you know, my kids or, you know, anyone else affects my personal belongings, it just makes me feel a certain way. Obviously, my daughter is 3, you know, like it's really not that deep. It's not a big deal. It is just a scribble and, you know, she's just coloring. But it is this weird mind shift of being able to have something that is solely yours, but also being okay with like real life happening in it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of where my mind shift has changed. Normally this would really affect me negatively, and now it kind of doesn't anymore because I take it with a grain of salt. But I will show you some more pages she got into. Everyone thinks this is an onion. It is a fig. In hindsight, this definitely looks like an onion, but it is not. So if you're curious why this is there, I thought it was a fig. I thought it was cute, but now all I see is onion. All right, so then that takes us to this week. It's just been a weird week in general, and I haven't really been in the mood to actually use my book. Originally, when I did like my weekly, you know, little art drawings, I did this one and then I just didn't like how it turned out at all. So that kind of frustrated me and it didn't really make me excited to use my book. And then I actually ended up messing up, and this section right here, I actually wrote right here. All my to-dos were supposed to go over here, so I wrote it twice. Now there's just all these scribbles, so when I'm doing my planning and my journaling and I look at this, it just makes me feel very anxious, and I haven't really been touching this book this week, and so you just saw me backlog from yesterday and do my daily entry for today. So that's kind of where we're at weekly. And then my daily pages, I'll give you guys a quick flip through of my past few daily entries. I've still been kind of doing the same thing in the back of my book. A lot of it is just journaling out my feelings and getting everything out of my brain and onto paper. I haven't been painting as much lately. I just haven't been in the mood for it, and I don't know, the time change really messed me up. and we're just kind of in that time of year where things feel very exhausting, and so I haven't been in the mood to paint, and so you'll see I kind of slow down from that. When I get in these weird moods with art, I like to just kind of force myself to draw something, even if it's not super detailed or, you know, intricate or pretty. That just helps my overall creativity and my mental health anyways. So I kind of played around with, you know, cutting the pages and changing the format a little bit in my dailies, and I actually really like how this looks and turned out, and so I think I'm going to kind of play around with this concept in my book within the coming weeks. I don't want to cut too many of these pages because then it's going to bulk it up really weird, but I do like these little half pages. This page was my last daily, and then again pages. So I haven't been in the mood to write in these this week again, because when I just look at this, it makes me anxious and it just feels chaotic. So this morning I just wanted to kind of push past that resistance that I was feeling for using these pages. I could always cut them out or, you know, cover them up, but I am someone that if I cover this up, I know what's like underneath it, and I know it's still there, so it still bothers me. I'd rather just write over it or write around it and just deal with it. Normally this would really affect how I viewed my book as a whole, and something like this would make me want to just buy a new planner altogether and start over. But you know, this is a safe space for me, and it's a space where I don't uphold a certain level of perfectionism, and so I want to stay true to that, and that is why I plan to just act like these were intentional and just plan around them and, you know, move forward. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and set up my weekly spread page for next week and just get it out of the way now, and then we'll do a little bit more journaling, and then that pretty much concludes today's planning. But let's go ahead. I'm not going to be doing a lot of work tasks next week because we are on Thanksgiving break, but I'm still going to write a to-do list in here. And then for my personal and home chores, I'm gonna write one more to-do list. Make sure I keep up with that. Lately, I have been liking adding both of my taskbars to the same side. In previous videos and previous weeks, I have liked separating these, so I'll put work on one side and then home and personal on the other side. But lately, I've been playing around with putting them on the same side but just separating them this way, and I kind of like how that works and I like how it looks, and so I've been trying it. Alright, and I don't think I'm gonna do too much art on this spread this week. Again, I'm just not in the mood for it, and we're just gonna leave this blank for right now, and then maybe next week if I get into that headspace, then I will add some art to this. But I at least want to set myself up with my taskbar so I feel somewhat prepared and ready to move into next week. And that's basically all that I'm gonna put in here, and then we'll go back. But I found this picture of this car and I was like, oh my gosh, that is me right now. I feel like this picture is just very moody, and it's exactly like how I feel right now, if that makes any sense. And so I just figured it would be good to tape in my book. And I actually think I'm gonna paperclip this in here and not tape it. I don't know. Recently I've been really liking paper clips in my cousin, so I'm just gonna stick him right there. Whenever I am having that feeling that I need to write something down and I want to write something but I don't really know what it is, or I'm blanking on what I want to put in my dailies, I like to think of this kind of prompt, and that is I am, I feel, I think. So whenever I'm having trouble deciding what I want to write in these pages, I will do an I am statement. So I'll say, I am having a good week. I feel very tired because it's almost Thanksgiving. I think next week I am going to do this or whatever. And I will do this sort of formula for anything that's on my mind, anything that's happening or worth noting or just getting out of my brain. Using the I am, I feel, and I think statements really helps me articulate my feelings and figure out how to put it on paper. Kind of like that. So in this little entry, I just did a I am, I feel, I think, and I'll proceed from there. If I still feel like writing, I will. If I don't, I'll just kind of stop there. That's basically where I'm at this week. And so I hope that was informative a little bit for you guys. It wasn't very like pretty or, you know, inspiring, but this is definitely real life and this is a realistic spread, and I love my kids. I love being a mom. I'm sure a few years down the line when I look back at these, I will be thankful that I have some sort of, you know, stamp from them in my book because they're a huge part of my life, so obviously. That's where we're at currently. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and I hope you travel safe if you're traveling, and I will see you for a more productive and, you know, educational, helpful video next week. Bye.